Back now with Andrew Heisel. Andrew, CBD oil is legal in Wisconsin. Difference between CBD oil and marijuana?
The difference is CBD does not contain, THC is separate from CBD. CBD does not give you the high, the euphoric high associated with THC. That's the difference.
Okay, and what is CBD oil generally used for as opposed to what medicinal marijuana would be used for?
They're often used for the same things. They come from the same plant. So they're used for example, cancer patients who are taking chemotherapy and suffer from nausea will use CBD and THC. People who are having difficulty with chronic pain have used both. They're both considered a sleep aid, helping with sleep, and the FDA has actually approved the use of a cannabis-derived medicine for treating seizures.
Now, the governor said this week that he wanted to put legalization of both medical and recreational marijuana into his next biennial budget. What was your reaction when you first heard that?
I thought that the governor in 2020, when he first, 2019, excuse me, when he first proposed medicinal legalization, took an important step forward. I think he's showing real leadership by proposing full legalization to treat cannabis as if it's alcohol in terms of its treatment and its taxation. I think that we need to have this reform in Wisconsin, both from a criminal justice perspective, but also from a business development perspective. Wisconsin farmers, Wisconsin business people, one thing people don't realize is that in the state of Colorado, the real estate, the HVAC, the construction industries all benefited immensely from legalization. And in Wisconsin, just imagine if we could create those jobs here.
Now, this has come up before, legalization either for medical or medicinal, going back all the way to the Jim Doyle administration. And it's still met with resistance by Republicans. Why do you think this has never passed before? What's been the roadblock? What's been standing in the way?
I think it's that stigma that I was mentioning. It's a lack of information, and we need to continue to share more information and educate policymakers specifically, because if you look at the voter in this state, whether they're Democratic, Republican, or Independent, Libertarian, or liberal, they support legalization. Strong majorities in Brown County, 76% of the voters supported medicinal legalization on the 2018 referenda. I really think that it's about educating folks, bringing them together, letting them realize that this is not what they might have thought it was, but actually something that is very mainstream and has a lot of potential benefits for a lot of people.
What has your group and we in general learned from the legalization in surrounding states?
We have learned that so that's an interesting point. Some states have handled it better than others.
Really?
Yes. Michigan is taxing it at a level of 16%. They have been able to open it up to many small businesses. They require equity plans to ensure that marginalized communities participate in the benefits, and as a result, they are thriving. They are generating revenue that is very substantial that they're putting into things like schools. You look at Illinois, where they have really limited the number of licenses, and they've done it in a way that's really promotes well-heeled investors and their ability to put together large projects at the exclusion of smaller businesses, and you don't see as much value. And you also see 6 lawsuits currently in play. So, but I would say in general that what you've seen in states like Colorado, Washington, Michigan, and even Illinois to an extent, you see people purchasing it legally, jobs are being created, the economy is improving around it, economic development's occurring around it, and you just see it becoming something that is relied upon for revenue, just like any other legal business.
Governor Evers has estimated $165 million in tax revenue realized from this. Where do you see that money going in the state of Wisconsin?
Well, I think he said it was going to be focused on rural communities in part, and also schools, which they did that in Colorado as well, and Michigan. They're focusing a portion of their revenues for localities and schools.
What would this do to our prison population in the state of Wisconsin?
So if anything, I think the way to look at it is what this would do would be to, one, unburden law enforcement from having to pursue victimless crimes for people exercising adult choice in a responsible manner. It would unburden law enforcement, and I think his decriminalization component with a statewide standard for ease of administration by law enforcement is really smart. Number two, what it would do is it would prevent these kinds of unnecessary convictions from plaguing people, preventing them, once they get one of these convictions, preventing them from achieving educational and employment opportunities. And that, to me, again, that is really something that is important as we move forward, that we address that issue.
So it would be reducing the crime rate in the state as well.
It would be reducing the administrative burden on police to have to police these kinds of situations. Instead, we could turn this over to regulatory authorities to make sure that legitimate tax-paying business people who were growing, processing, and selling cannabis were following the law, and that they were doing things like they're not marketing or providing products to anyone under the age of 21. Things of that nature have more of a public health benefit and benefit society more than throwing people in jail and arresting them for simply making adult choices in a responsible way.
What do you project, if this is passed in Wisconsin, what do you project for jobs? You know, how many and where, in what industries?
I appreciate the question. I wish I could be a little more specific, but I would just say that that in Colorado, there's just been a really big growth in a lot of different sectors you would not have anticipated. For example, when you grow cannabis, frequently it has to be done indoors. Cornfields actually make great soil for growing cannabis, so you can do some of it outdoors as well. But if you do it indoors, what you need is you need HVAC, and you need power, and you need construction, and you need all those different craftspeople to build new buildings and to retrofit them. You then need people to work in the industry. And I just would anticipate that there would be so many opportunities based on what we've seen in Canada, Michigan, and Illinois just across the border.
One of our state lawmakers, when this proposal came up, just simply said, this is a non-starter. What do you say to somebody like that who's sounding like they're not even going to consider it at all?
Well, I don't know what to say to that other than, hey, this is a democracy, and elected leaders, they vote their conscience, and we just need to continue to try to educate them about this issue, because their constituents, I would guarantee, based upon what we've seen in public opinion polls and these cannabis referenda, support legalization. A majority do. And I feel if people support it that much, the voters probably aren't wrong. They probably know something that maybe our elected leaders, it would behoove them to listen to.
We continue with Andrew Heisel after this, so please stay with us.